Hello there. So apparently from the last video, beard or get a haircut was the consensus. Like this. So like a man holding like this. This is episode 2 of Camp Hutch. And today's gameplay is going to be featuring the Booty Swede. This guy's a 16-year-old UK kid and one of the best snipers on YouTube in my opinion. You guys are going to love this game. And I got something else on my mind, Mr. Sark. I see you throwing down all these challenges. Well, I got one for you. You and me. One-on-one. You pick the game type in the map. I want to take you down. Hey, guess what? There's your YouTube channel. So if anybody wants to post a message on his profile saying, hey, you and Hutch accept the challenge, I would encourage you to do so. So what do you guys see? Do I look better? Do I not look like a pedophile Chuck Norris, Vietnam veteran at this point, or an alcoholic? Okay, guys, enjoy the show.
Welcome to Friday's stream. Jen, thank you so much for 10 gifted memberships, Jen. Jesus Christ.
Hello there.
Jen, wow, that was so generous of you. I appreciate it. Thank you. You know, I didn't really understand what Gutch was until just like the last week. I thought you guys were just fucking around and just coming up with random names. Why is my camera going out of focus? Times. You see it going out of focus? What's up with that? Speedglass, thank you so much for 29 months. Appreciate you doing that, buddy. Also with the $1 super chat, thank you so much for doing that. The Rad with 55 months. Appreciate you, buddy. Naughty Pup with a year. Oh my goodness. Naughty Pup. Has it been that long? Little Boots with 35 months. Little Boots. Thank you. Appreciate it. Love you. Gotta hit the cam with the baby batter, Hutch. I don't understand why I would come onto my camera. What is that? I don't even understand. Is anybody else playing Arc Raiders? Because god damn, what how is a game that addictive? It's fucking unbelievable game. It's incredible. I've been waiting for a game like Arc Raiders for a really long time. I've been interested in extraction shooters for a while, but none of them. Escape from Tarkov, I don't care what anybody says. That game sucks. It's ugly. The UI is trash. That game sucks. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. And then none of the other extraction shooters have been appealing to me, but this game is, wow, what a game. I mean, first of all, developed by a bunch of former DICE people who got sick of making Battlefield games, so they know how to make like polished games. So the game is very polished, like super well optimized, gorgeous. The audio is god tier audio. I can't play PvP like that. I almost cried when I got robbed on The Division. Well, here's the thing. Here's the interesting thing with Arc Raiders. I can't explain it. I don't know why it happened, but if you queue up with teammates, then it's heavy PvP. If you queue solo, nobody, at least at the level that I'm at, maybe when I'm a higher level, but nobody is picking fight. Like everybody's helping each other. There's like a culture of like not shooting fellow raiders. I don't know why that happened. That's kind of interesting. I'd like to unpack that, but everybody's hella nice. Like I haven't gotten into a single PvP fight in 7 hours of gameplay. And the PvE stuff is super fun because the arc in that game are fucking brutal. They're kind of horrifying. I finally had an extraction shooter experience that I imagine has happened to like millions of people, where I was in a match, fucking 20 minutes of raiding. I found a dope fucking gun, like a new gun. I was like, oh yeah. And then I fucking died to the arc, like right before extraction, and it broke my heart. Go to Blue Gate. Your tone will change real quick. 80% shoot on sight there. I've already been to Blue Gate, and I did not get shot. Third person in a PvP. I can't speak right now. Feels bad being able to see people without being seen as a yikes. I don't know, man. It's fun. Anyways, that's my rant. That's my rant on Arc Raiders. That shit is addictive. My God. All right, so I don't know what is going on with Mamdani at the White House. Jack, thank you so much for the tier 1 membership on YouTube. Chesapeake, thank you so much for the tier 1 membership. Appreciate you, buddy. We got a lot to get to today. First of all, is there anything on the schedule for Mamdani meeting Trump? I have to assume that they're going to do some kind of joint appearance. And somebody yesterday said it, and I said it before I could say it, but I was thinking it, just so you know. I think they're going to try to humiliate him somehow. Like, they're going to try to do something to, like, straight up humiliate this guy. Like they did with that one the president of South Africa. You guys remember that one? They just tried to humiliate that guy. Same with Zelensky. So I want to see how he handles that, but I have a lot of respect for him going into the lion's den. That's kind of crazy. This guy might be a killer, you guys. Mamdani with that smile, don't trust it. He might be a fucking killer. Naughty Pup, thanks so much for the tier 1 membership for 5 months. Pleasant Puffin with 45 months. think I'm caught up there. All right. Hassan Piker went to China. I don't know if he's still in China. He might still be in China. And he did an appearance on state media. This woman is a paid propagandist. State media propagandist. Come up with 20 months. Mamdani is the ultimate kill him with kindness guy. No, I think he might be a secret killer. I think Mamdani might be a fucking killer, you guys. I'm pretty sure. This you saying something long time ago that you've already disavowed? I don't know what they're gonna. Yeah, I think they're probably gonna do some kind of sizzle reel. But he has to know. Mamdani has to know that they're gonna try to pull some shit. I think he's a smart guy, so like, I don't know. Part of me thinks that he's walking in there with a plan. I could be overthinking it. Maybe Mamdani is just like super arrogant and has a lot of hubris, and this is just gonna backfire. But he seems like a smart guy. He seems like a politically savvy guy, so I just really doubt that. Actually, you know what? Let's watch this first. This is what to expect from Trump's meeting with Mamdani.
In just hours, a highly anticipated meeting that could bring high drama to the White House. We may only hear about it, but never see it. President Trump will host New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani at the White House this afternoon. And this morning, we're learning about Mamdani's preparation for this high-stakes meeting by calling on some high-profile Democrats like Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer for advice on how to best communicate with President Trump. The president has been repeatedly insulting Mamdani, threatening to withhold federal funds from New York and referring to him as a communist over and over again, which he is not. Still, Mamdani has said he wants to talk to the president and focus on ways that he can help New Yorkers. CNN's Gloria Pazmino has been following Mamdani's trail for the longest. What are you learning this morning about this meeting?
Look, this is high stakes. This is a really big moment for the mayor-elect, but frankly, also for the president. We have seen in the last few days that President Donald Trump has been speaking about affordability. He has talked about how Democrats use this word and reference to groceries in order to win the last bunch of elections that we saw just a couple of weeks ago. But of course, as we know, affordability in groceries and the cost of living is something that is on the minds of so many Americans and was certainly on the minds of many of the New Yorkers who voted for Zohran Mamdani just a few days ago and elected him to be the next mayor. So we're going to see a very interesting back and forth. Hopefully, for now, we're told that this meeting is behind closed doors. But Sarah, you know things at the White House can be a bit unpredictable. And the question here is whether or not Donald Trump might open up those doors and allow the cameras to come in. And what happens then will be even more interesting, because we've seen how some of these public meetings play out before, where he meets with whether it's state leaders or leaders from other countries. Sometimes he tries to embarrass them. We saw Vladimir Zelensky get berated for not wearing a suit to the White House.
There was an update on Zelensky, but I don't know. What's the update with Zelensky, guys? What's going on with Russia and the Trump administration?
So it could really go off the rails, and Mamdani knows that he has to kind of be on his feet. So he got some advice on how to do that from Senator Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, Governor Kathy Hochul. All of them have had conversations.
I just hope he's ready, you know? Like, I just hope he's ready. This is a lot of pressure, man. Can you imagine that shit? Going to the White House? That's a lot of pressure. There's a 10-minute video that Zelensky just posted that looks pretty dire. Maybe we'll watch that after this. Proof of my existence. Thank you so much for 2 months. Appreciate it, bud. Come up with 20 months. Oh my God.
And have a relationship, even if a tense one at times, with President Trump. We know that Mamdani is on his way. He's
that would just be politically bad if he went into the lion's den and just had a horrible appearance like that. That's just the worst way that you could start your mayoralty. Is that what it is? Yeah, that's my calculation. He can't afford to fuck this up. Like he really can't fuck this up. I mean, that would just, he would lose a lot of confidence from his own voters. And he didn't even have like the biggest majority to begin with. So I don't know. I mean, but I don't know. There's something about somebody who welcomes that kind of pressure that makes me feel better about it. Like the fact that he wants to do that, it really is only two things. It's like hubris, or he's actually capable of going in there and holding his own with Trump. And there's really no in between. Like, it's either going to be a massive fuck up for him, or he's going to come out the other end better. Who knows? But they are going to try to humiliate this guy. 100%. They are going to try to humiliate this guy. I think the Trump people, they're going to have two goals. They're going to try to conflate the entire Democratic Party with Mamdani. They're going to give him the AOC treatment. They're going to try to message on the entire Democratic Party has lost their minds. They're all communists, blah, 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 blah. And they're going to try to personally humiliate Mamdani. And I think Mamdani is definitely smart, and he has definitely, surrounded himself with other smart people. So I assume they're going in there with a game plan. They better be. Fucking better be. I guarantee you Trump's got a game plan. Did you see Swalwell is running for California governor? I did not see that, and I would support him over Katie Porter, that's for sure.
Tweeted just a short while ago a selfie from what it looks like the inside of an airplane. There you see him. He says it was just an airplane emoji, so he is on his way to D.C. But, considering what we know about how these two men have spoken about one another in the last few months, I think there's a lot of people who are going to be closely watching to see how it goes. Take a listen to just how Trump and Mamdani have been talking about each other in recent weeks.
It's going to be hard for me as the president to give a lot of money to New York because if you...
Lazy Sunday, did I get you for 23 months? Thank you so much, buddy. Please pause the videos today, Hutch. I know it's a meme, but let me ask you guys for some feedback right now. And be honest, do I pause too often and for too long? Like, do I need to be better about... Oh, wow, that is an overwhelming consensus. I mean, you very rarely see that in a chat. Okay, well. When do we ever get Twitch chat and YouTube chat in a basically universal consensus? It just never happens. I am a yapper, but you guys, that's what I'm getting. You guys think I yap too much. And you know what? I respect that opinion, but fuck you guys.
You have a communist running New York, all you're doing is wasting the money you're sending there.
I have many disagreements with the president, and I believe that we should be relentless and pursue all avenues and all meetings that could make our city affordable for every single New Yorker. I intend to make it clear to President Trump that I will work with him on any agenda that benefits New Yorkers. If an agenda hurts New Yorkers, I will also be the first to say so.
Now, Sarah, as diametrically opposed as these two men are, I also think that they actually have something in common, and that is they both have figured out a very effective way to communicate with their supporters These two are from New York. They're both from Queens. I think President Trump sees something in Mamdani that perhaps I would venture to say he admires, you know, the way that he has used social media to really reach out to his supporters. And, you know, his focus on affordability and really what is a populist message that he himself used to get so many of his supporters.
Right. The affordability issue is the economy. It's just another word for it. And that's how Donald Trump got into office himself. This is going to be an interesting meeting and what we are all waiting for to see if it is actually going to be made public. We will see. Gloria Pazmino, thank you so much for your great reporting. John.
All right, with us now, Republican strategist Neil Chatterjee and executive.
You know what? I'm sorry. But I have to jump in at this point. If they don't televise it, I think that necessarily means that Trump is afraid of Mamdani's power level. That was a valid pause. I agree. That was a valid pause. I gotta throw my analysis in there. If they don't televise it, I think that definitely means that Trump is afraid of Mamdani's riz. 100%. What else could it mean? There's no other explanation if he doesn't do that. And if I know that, he probably knows that. So I think they have to televise it, right? Because otherwise he's just going to look like a fucking pussy, right? And if I have to know that, and then Trump has to know that, then Mamdani has to know that too. So then that makes me think that Mamdani does have a plan going into this thing. Like he wouldn't just, I don't think he would just walk. I think he wants him to televise it. There's some high level chess going on here, guys. There's some high level chess going on here, guys. Bro, you don't got to apologize for pausing. People act like they can't press play on these videos themselves. I'm here for Hutch. I'm gay. Nice. Saint D Clap, thanks so much for the tier 1 membership. Excel with 18 months. Wow.
Executive Committee Chair of the New York State Democratic Committee, Christine Quinn, a New York City person through and through. And Christine, let me ask this to you. I know it's the wrong neighborhood. They're both from Queens. But if this were like a West Side Story thing, what happens when the Sharks and the Jets both show up to the Oval Office? What's going to happen today?
Well, I think the ending's going to be very different than it was in the play or the movie. You know, look, the mayor-elect is doing what is customary, going to see the president, the mayor-elect of the biggest city in the country, and he's going to take his affordability agenda to the president, and hopefully they will be able to find some common ground, because the mayor-elect has said over and over, he'll work with anybody who is committed to making the lives of New Yorkers better and more affordable.
Do you feel, Neil, that that is where the incentive structure is here from a political standpoint? Do both of these men have an incentive to behave and make this a constructive discussion, or are they perhaps incentivized to make it a show?
Yeah, look, this is all going to be theater, and maybe not the Sharks and the Jets. My daughter is starring in The Outsiders later today. It's the Socs versus the Greasers. This is going to be pure theater. It is good politics for both of them. For the president, he wants to elevate Mamdani. He wants him to be the face of the National Democrat Party. He wants.
I said that. I'm just saying. I said that. They need to hire me. I can be a CNN analyst. Just give me some beta blockers, some Ativan. Calm me down so I don't freak the fuck out. I could do this for a living.
Republicans to run against Mamdani in the midterms, and this is a way of platforming him, giving him a big stage, putting him on the stage, making him that figure. For the mayor-elect, this is an opportunity to demonstrate fight. That's what the Democrat base wants right now. They want someone who's willing to go toe-to-toe and fight with President Trump. I do think this will be largely theatric. I do think, as was previously mentioned...
Well, it's entirely theater. Let's just be clear about that.
These guys kind of, have similar approaches, though different ideologies. And I think this is great for both of them, to be totally honest, politically.
All right, if Neil is right, that's Christine, true. This is The Outsiders. Will Mamdani stay gold, Pony Boy? If President Trump does go after him, as a constituent here in New York City, do you want him to rise to the occasion? Do you want to see him? Is it more important that he goes toe-to-toe with the president, or is it more important that he charms him and gets what he wants from him?
Well, I think we can all agree his campaign was both Tony Award winning and Academy Award winning. But that said, keeping this theme going, Look, I think the mayor-elect is incredibly focused on getting every level of government and every level of society committed to making the biggest city in the country more affordable for everyone. So no matter what your job is, you can have a full, dignified life, a life where your children can do better than you. I think he is going there, with an open heart and open mind to see where they can come together. I don't believe, knowing the mayor-elect, that this is really about theater. It's about trying to get a goal accomplished. We're out of the campaign. We're
Nah, I disagree with that. I think that it's for sure theater, right?
into governing.
So what's interesting is that Zohran Mamdani has been talking about affordability since he launched his campaign, and he's been doing it in a way that connected with voters. Neil, President Trump has been using the word affordability for like a week and doesn't seem to like it. You can see him almost say, they call it affordability. He puts it almost in air quotes there. And it seems
Because they got smashed on affordability a couple weeks ago.
to be something the administration is having a challenge discussing. Listen to what J.D. Vance, the vice president, says about this.
Even though we've made incredible progress, we understand that there's a lot more work to do. And the thing that I'd ask for the American people is a little bit of patience. This
Ooh, that's not gonna... I don't think that's gonna work.
economy was not harmed in 10 months.
So now, Neil, they're saying people have to wait a little bit. While they were running the campaign, it was the type of thing like day one, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Now they're going to have to wait. But to what extent do you think that the White House is struggling, not with the economy, but with the messaging on the economy?
Yeah, look,
It's just such a different tone than their campaign. Their campaign was, we are going to reduce prices day one. That's what they ran on. That's what they said. They said they got granular with it. They got very specific with it. They said, we're going to drill so much oil, and that's going to drive the cost of everything down. That was their whole thing. Jinx, my goodness, you generous person. Thank you so much for gifting 10 memberships. We are in members only on Fridays. We do Fridays. We do members only on YouTube. So if you guys got a membership gifted to you, you can speak. You have the power of speaking in the chat. Thank you, buddy. Thank you for doing that. Appreciate it. They got very specific with it. They said their game plan. Their game plan was they were just going to drill a shitload of oil, and because the cost of oil trickles down to everything, that everything would be cheaper. That's what they said. They said they got specific with your energy bill. They said, we're going to chop your energy bill in half. And then a year into the presidency, now they're saying, okay, we need you guys to be patient. That's just not going to fly, I don't think.
they're making missteps, to be totally candid. My background's in energy and electricity. Electricity prices were a huge issue in the November.
What I tell you? What did I fucking tell you? They need to hire me. I can do this. I can do this job.
Elections in Virginia, in New Jersey. Electricity prices are through the roof. And inexplicably, the administration has been taking steps to create obstacles to the deployment of clean energy, of solar and battery storage and wind, at a time when demand is through the roof and we need every available electron. I think they have time to get it right, but they need to make some shifts on policy. Don't constrain.
They're not going to do that, bro. They are not going to do that. They're not going to reverse the cuts that they made to renewable energy.
Clean energy at a moment in time when we need it.
Never in a million years is he going to do that. His whole brand throughout. I feel like energy policy has been a big part of Trump's pitch. I don't know how much of a big part it's been of his actual policy platform once he was elected, but his pitch consistently for the last 10 plus years now, 10 years, is, a significant part of that was about drilling more oil and getting rid of like solar and wind and electric cars. And that's been a huge part of his pitch consistently for the last 10 years.
If you want to bring down electricity prices, let's unleash all of the above energy, which is what the president talked about on the campaign trail. They haven't governed in that way.
He's not going to do that.
I'm hoping they will course correct.
Neil Chatterjee, Christine Quinn.
And you know,
thank
John,
you.
the problem.
Go ahead.
The problem with having to wait with all of these failed policies is people lose their jobs, people lose their homes. Time is a terrible thing in this affordability crisis. It's real life for Americans.
Yeah, he gets tripped up on batteries. That's true. He goes, sun goes down, solar doesn't work. What do you do? What do you do when the sun goes down? Like he's been doing that for years. Like he seems to be genuinely confused about the concept of just batteries, just storing energy. Doesn't seem to say, what do you do when the wind stops blowing? The windmills no longer work. What do you do? That's why you drill. That's why you use oil. The liberals, the Democrats, they're wrong. You need the sun. Sun isn't out all the time. What do you do? He's been doing that for 10 fucking years, bro.
You know, just in terms of political messaging, saying wait is always a hard thing to sell. But we'll see what else they have over the next coming days and weeks. Neil Chatterjee, Christine Quinn.
All right, that's the end of that. I'm going to use the restroom real quick. We're going to come back and watch Hassan's propaganda video with the state propagandists. Oh my God. Give me just a few minutes. I'll be right back, okay?
Himself from Nick Fuentes' views. Listen to what he said.
But you can't tell him who to interview. I mean, if he wants to interview Nick Fuentes, I don't know much about him, but if he wants to do it, get the word out. Let him, people have to decide. Ultimately, people have to decide.
I'm just thinking back to the first Trump term, particularly in the first couple of years. It was constantly being discussed, this emergence of the alt-right, a white nationalist, burgeoning kind of like movement within conservative politics. And for years, right-wingers have deflected this criticism by accusing the left of being histrionic, accusing the left of being dramatic. Oh, you guys just call anybody you don't like a Nazi. That kind of became the universal defense. They would act indignant, and right now, this moment just feels like the chicken's coming home to roost. Is what it feels like. Ak has the clip, but Asman says he wants to talk to Nick Fuentes.
Evening, Nicholas.
Boy.
Asmongold. Basically nominate you for Streamer of the Year on X. Also, if non-political questions are allowed, what were your favorite video game releases 2025? All the best to you. Rooting for you from Finland.
Yeah, Asmongold has been... We gotta do a stream. Does he want me to reach out to him?
I think that we might have to wait till next year for that one. I don't know if Twitch is ready for that one yet. Now, I will say it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. But I don't know if when is sooner than later. I know the position that I'm in.
I feel like he's like the...
You know, it's just so funny because we've been spending the last year talking about like Dems in disarray. What is the party gonna do? We're losing young men and black people and Hispanic voters, and we've been doing all this Dems in disarray discourse for like the last year after losing the election, and it turns out Republicans this entire time disarray. And now we have this situation with Nick Fuentes, which is not a small situation. Like this is a pretty big situation. The president, talked about the current moment that the Republican Party's in right now. Like Trump talked about it, Vance has talked about it. They're all talking about like, what do we do about the Nazi problem? There's the Texas redistricting thing too. Hold on, let's get to one thing at a time.
The #1 streamer in the world. So I was like waiting for him to but maybe I'll hit him up because I really want to collaborate. I don't want to get him canceled though. So if he doesn't want to do it, I totally understand. But
hasn't Asman? I feel like Asman has talked about how like racism is bad, right? Or am I just making that up?
Sweater, bro.
Like I feel like I saw a clip from him somewhat recently talking about how anti-Indian racism was really dumb. Am I making that up? I swear to God. Crone says Asman is very racist. It's his biggest driving force.
Midterm.
He actually has a lot of liberal views like pro-choice. I swear to God, I just saw something like 2 weeks ago from him talking about how the anti-Indian racism is really bad and dumb. And I feel like I've seen other clips of him before, like talking about how racism was bad. I could be wrong. I don't know. Pro-choice is practical and conservative too. In a certain way, I suppose. Yeah.
Maybe I'll hit him up this week and see if we could set something up if he's into it. But Asmongold, he seems like a very honest guy. Seems like he has a lot of.
I'm too on it. That's the problem. Is I just say what I think.
You fucking bitch.
And sometimes what I think is something that's really crazy.
I don't know when it happened, but we started celebrating having zero filter as honesty, but it's really just emotional immaturity when you think about it. I don't always have the best filter, so I'm not the best judge of people who speak very bluntly about the things that pop into their head. So I'm truly not trying to cast stones from glass houses here. It's gotten better. Like, I have more of a filter as I have aged, but you know, tact is a good thing to learn. I agree. SW. Tact is like one of these things that you hopefully learn as you get older. You don't actually have to say everything that pops into your head. And in fact, many times you should actively try to question the things that pop into your own head. Try to poke some holes in it before you throw it out there into the ether. Okay. Do we do the Hassan propaganda video first, or do we there's another thing I want to kind of tune into as well. Maybe we save the propaganda video. Cameron Kasky, you guys, is a Gen Z kid who was a survivor of Parkland, the shooting in Florida. He works with the Bulwark now, I think. He does a podcast with Tim Miller, and he announced a run for Congress recently. And the reason I'm curious about this is because I think we are definitely seeing the Mamdanification of progressive politics right now. And so what I'm very, very curious about is if this new crop of candidates, like, are they going to have like a sweep? In the midterms and in 2028? That's the question I think all of us are asking. That's the question I'm most curious about. I have a lot of concerns about this crop of people. My sense of them is that they're very idealistic. My sense of them is that I'm not 100% sure that they would work well in Congress. I don't know if their, principled stances would yield any positive results, if they would be unwilling to compromise, how much that would stifle like future agendas. They seem very antagonistic and hostile, and I don't know. I'm very skeptical of these people. This was his announcement video, and you can tell he's very, very clearly taking a page out of Mamdani's book, which is good. It's smart because that was a smart campaign.
New Yorkers are always on the move, reaching new heights and rushing towards the future. But today's leaders just can't keep up. My name is Cameron Kasky, and I'm running for Congress because there's no real path forward for most Americans. You and your family are working all week just to spend most of your paycheck on rent and health care. Meanwhile, the richest people in our country are telling us that we can't afford real solutions like social housing and Medicare for all. No, we can only afford genocide, Palantir mass surveillance contracts, and ICE thugs. I'm running because we need people in Congress who are going to do something about it and work on laws that help all Americans. Isn't that crazy and radical? Turns out we actually can build a society where we're feeding children instead of tearing them away from their families, where streets are lined with federal housing and small businesses instead of the National Guard.
Well, we're going to have troops everywhere.
Now, I've been taking on members of Trump's regime since I was literally a teenager. Senator Rubio, can you tell me right now that you will not accept a single donation from the NRA in the future? I never dreamed I would get into politics, but then a disturbed 19-year-old was able to legally purchase an assault rifle and murder 17 people at my high school. My classmates and I learned the hard way that this shooting didn't happen in spite of the American system, it happened because of it. And this is a system that is failing you at every turn. But out of that tragedy, my classmates and I were able to get millions of people all across the country to take it to the streets and call for real change. Now, nearly a decade later, the country is even more violent than it was.
Is this DMCA?
And we need leaders who aren't going to coddle their billionaire donors, who won't support a genocide, and who aren't going to settle for flaccid incrementalism. New Yorkers don't put up with hate and bigotry. New Yorkers look out for one another, and New Yorkers lead the way, which is why it's up to us to take back our future. I'm Cameron Kasky, and I'm running for Congress because it feels like our party has no future. So we need to invest in a new generation of leaders to take on the fight. Please donate to me online. All of my opponents have a lot of very rich friends. I can't necessarily say the same thing about myself. I'm Cameron Kasky, and I approve this message.
You know, a couple of notes. I think he presents well, for sure. I think he presents well. Where's my head at with this one? I'm having thoughts. For me, it's a red flag when you talk about like flaccid incrementalism, because quote unquote, like flaccid incrementalism is just how bills get passed. That's just how stuff gets done. And that's been the case for decades. I guess my concern with candidates like Kasky is we're going to have another Jamal Bowman, Cori Bush situation where, you know, they voted against the infrastructure bill. Did they even vote for like the ARP or the IRA? I don't even know. You know, I want members of the Democratic Party coalition that are going to support the agenda and not make it about, you know, signaling to others how principled they are. I just worry about that, you know, like David Hogg, for example. He's running this new thing. He's been doing it for a little bit now, where his whole thing is he's trying to replace older members of Congress. And they're doing reaction videos too. So like I think they're being very savvy in terms of the online marketing. I just have, you know what? I have serious concerns about running for a seat in Congress and not really making the affordability issue your first and foremost issue. Like he mentioned, you know, rich oligarchs and billionaires that are fucking holding you back and stuff like that. But there was a heavy emphasis on gun control. That doesn't seem very smart in 2025. There was a heavy emphasis on Israel and Gaza. That doesn't seem very smart in 2025. Like, who is this campaign for? Like, who is he? What kind of a base is he trying to galvanize here? Because I don't think the voters in New York are going to be eager to show up to vote in a primary thinking about gun control and Israel and Gaza. Just, you know, I don't think that's going to represent a significant share of the electorate. When you're young, you need to try and present a bit older. Mamdani never felt young. That's the other thing too, is like, listen, call it ageism, but I do not trust electing like a 22-year-old or 23-year-old to Congress. I just don't trust it for the most part. I'm just saying.
I can be real with everybody.
Maybe his situation is different. Maybe he's a lot more mature than I was at his age, but generally speaking, he's 25. I mean, all right, maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's a little bit better. What's the difference between 23 and 25? Honestly, a lot. I feel like there's a lot. I feel like there's a big difference. 25 feels better. Just feels like a better number. You know, the second campaign ad that he put out was entirely focused on Israel. Like this campaign just feels like it's very online. Like it just feels like it's geared towards like very online people. I don't think centering Gaza in your campaign. I could be wrong. Like, I don't know. When are the primaries? When are the primaries? In June or July? We'll see. But you know, is that really what the voters of New York are thinking about? Like, I just, you know.
We need to stop providing aid to the state of Israel, and I'm going to tell you why. The colonial violence we've seen this country carrying out will not stop with the genocide in Gaza. It will not stop with the illegal annexation of the West Bank. This was never about the hostages. This was never about Hamas. This is part of a bigger and deadlier colonial project. Bibi Netanyahu, a wanted war criminal, has publicly stated that while his extremist government carries out the genocide in Gaza, he feels like he is on a, quote, historic mission and feels a connection to a greater Israel vision. So what is greater Israel?
Wait a second, hold on. Hang on a minute. How much truth is there to this? I know that Netanyahu and the hard right, like the ultra nationalists in Israel, are keen on the West Bank, but maybe I should talk to Lonerbox about this, because I know a little bit about Israel. I'm not an expert, but I don't think there's been any kind of there's no evidence that like Israel has had its eyes on Gaza for, you know, to complete like a greater Israel kind of mission. Like Gaza was never something that Israel was like fighting for. Now, like the recent plans to come in and establish like a permanent presence there, and, you know, or have like a permanent kind of peacekeeping mission there. I don't know. Maybe he's not even going there with this, but the idea that Israel has been trying to like, has been like yearning and salivating to annex Gaza, I don't think that's true at all.
The concept was enshrined in 1977 in the founding charter of Netanyahu's Likud party, which states that from the Mediterranean Sea to the River Jordan, there will only be Israeli sovereignty. So when people protesting crimes against humanity say from the river to the sea, let's be clear, they're not the only people talking about this. A two-state solution, the popular moderate position for Democrats, is not enough. If we continue to arm the state of Israel, the colonial violence will only expand.
Okay, this guy is not going to even come close in the primaries. I'm calling it now. Like he's going to be like a distant fifth. I think that campaign is entirely for super online people and not the people of New York. I don't even know if he's intending on winning. All right, that was Mamdani with $10. Was wondering if you were gonna talk Kasky. Good example of someone running a stupid campaign, running in a congressional district with the largest Jewish population in the country. Well, we'll see. We'll see how he does. I think he's gonna come like dead last. Marcus with $20. Am I the only person worried that Mamdani is getting this invite so soon after Khashoggi's killer visited Trump? I'm legit worried. No, come on. No, what do you think? They're going to chop him up in the White House? That's not, come on. He's going to be fine. Tyler Cooper with the tier 1 membership. Hutch is the best liberal streamer. Wow. Thank you so much. I missed a few days this week. I feel bad about that. I'm still tired. Like I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was, but I had a headache and